The stars were quiet that night. But deep in the darkness of space, a small ship moved slowly, leaving a faint trail of light behind. It was old and battered, with parts missing, and it shuddered every time it passed through a small asteroid field. Inside, the passengers were tired. They were not soldiers. They were refugees, fleeing from a galaxy that had turned against them. They had nowhere else to go. They had tried to find help among other worlds, but everywhere they went, they were turned away. The galaxy had cast them out, labeling them as criminals for refusing to follow its strict rules. Among the refugees was a young woman named Lena Voss. She sat quietly in the corner of the ship, staring at the small window that looked out into the blackness of space. Her skin was pale from months of hiding in small compartments, and her hands trembled slightly as she adjusted the small bag she always carried. Inside it were the few items she had been able to keep: a notebook filled with drawings, a small musical device, and a picture of her younger brother, who had been taken during the chaos that had destroyed their home planet. Next to her was Galen Dorr, an older man with a lined face and eyes that had seen too much. He was the one who kept everyone calm, reminding them to eat what little food they had and to rest whenever they could. "We're close," he said softly, though he was not sure if it was true. "The readings show a blue planet up ahead. It might be safe." The passengers didn't speak much. Fear had made them quiet. They had learned that speaking too loudly could bring attention, and attention in the wrong places could be deadly. But still, hope flickered in their hearts. The small ship was heading toward the third planet of a yellow star, a planet they had only seen from a distance. Earth. On Earth, in the small control room of a research station orbiting the planet, Ethan Brooks leaned over his instruments, frowning. He was not the loud type. He didn't like attention, and he preferred to work alone. But tonight, something had caught his attention. A small, unregistered vessel had entered the solar system. It wasn't sending any messages, and it didn't match any known design from human space programs. Ethan's fingers danced over the controls, trying to get a better reading. "Natalie, come here," he called. Natalie Pierce walked in, her long brown hair tied back in a ponytail. She was the medical expert on the team, but she also had a sharp mind for science and technology. "What is it?" she asked. Ethan pointed to the screen. "Look at this. It's not human. And it's damaged. It's moving slowly, barely holding together." "I think they need help." Natalie frowned. "Help? How can we help them if we don't even know what they are? They could be dangerous." Ethan shook his head. "I've seen this before. Ships like this don't attack. They're fleeing. And we can't just ignore them. They'll die if we don't do something." Across the control room, other scientists whispered nervously. Some argued that the ship could be a trap, a scout for a fleet of enemies. But Ethan was stubborn. He had always believed that humans could choose a different path, one that did not rely on fear or violence first. "We send a small team," he said finally. "We don't fire weapons. We offer help. That's all." Natalie hesitated, then nodded. "I'll get the medical supplies ready." Meanwhile, the small alien vessel floated closer to Earth. Inside, Lena looked out at the blue and green planet growing larger in the window. "Do you think they will help us?" she whispered to Galen. He looked at her, his eyes tired but kind. "I don't know," he said. "But we have no choice. Either we try, or we die out here in space." As the ship entered the outer edges of Earth's atmosphere, it began to tremble. The engines were failing, and the systems were barely functioning. Lena gripped the arm of her seat, fear and hope fighting inside her. She had seen other worlds, but she had never imagined a place where someone might help them without asking for anything in return. Back on Earth, Ethan and Natalie prepared for the arrival. They had designed a docking system that could match the alien ship's irregular movements. Engineers and volunteers worked together, monitoring every warning signal. The team knew that this would be the first contact of its kind. No one knew what to expect. When the small ship finally landed on a specially prepared platform, the doors opened slowly. Lena stepped out first, followed by a few others. They looked around in amazement at the humans waiting for them. No weapons. No threats. Just people reaching out with hands of help. Natalie offered a small smile. "You're safe here," she said. Galen bowed slightly, a gesture of respect he had learned from traveling among many worlds. "Thank you," he said. For the first time in months, the refugees felt a sense of relief. They had expected fear, suspicion, maybe even violence. But instead, they found understanding. Small groups of volunteers brought food, blankets, and medical care. Ethan approached the alien captain, a tall being with pale silver skin and eyes that shimmered in the light. His name was Sereth. "We mean no harm," Ethan said. "You are welcome here." Sereth studied him for a long moment, then nodded. "We have been rejected everywhere." "Your offer? It is unusual. That's what humans do," Ethan replied simply. "Sometimes we surprise even ourselves." As the days passed, the refugees began to recover. The Orcs, as they called themselves, shared their stories of survival, of losing homes, families, and friends. Humans listened, fascinated and saddened by what they heard. Natalie worked alongside them, learning their medical techniques and sharing her own knowledge. It was a slow process, but bonds began to form. In schools, children of both species learned together. In labs, scientists shared ideas that had never been combined before. Even small acts, like preparing meals or repairing broken parts of the ship, became opportunities to teach and learn. The Orcs were amazed by the human way of helping without expecting immediate gain. But not everyone in the galaxy was happy. Far away, in the high council chambers of the Galactic Union, leaders watched the reports coming from Earth. "Why do they protect the Orcs?" one leader demanded. "This planet is weak. It should follow orders, as all planets do." Another council member shook his head. "Earth is not like other worlds. They do not fear us. They do not obey as we expect. If we strike, we may face resistance we cannot predict." Back on Earth, the Orcs began to feel a sense of belonging they had never known. Lena spent hours exploring Earth's cities, amazed at the variety of life and the kindness of strangers. Galen helped teach humans how to repair their old ship engines, marveling at how quickly humans adapted to alien technology. Even small successes, like fixing a damaged navigation system or sharing a new plant-based food, brought smiles to their faces. Ethan watched from the control room as humans and Orcs worked together. He felt proud, but also cautious. He knew that the galaxy would not accept Earth's refusal to surrender the refugees. A storm was coming, he thought, but for now, humanity had done something remarkable. They had chosen compassion over fear. One evening, Lena sat outside a small research station, looking up at the stars. "Do you think they will come for us?" she asked quietly. Galen joined her. "Probably," he said. "But whatever happens, Earth has given us a chance to survive. That is more than we had anywhere else." Closing. As the sun set, casting long shadows across the human and alien faces working together, a sense of hope filled the air. For the first time in a long time, the Orcs felt safe. For the first time, they understood that there were species in the universe who did not only seek power and control, there were those who would protect the weak, even if it was dangerous, even if it was against the rules. And for Earth, the arrival of the Orcs was only the beginning. Humanity was learning that their choices could change the galaxy, that they could defy expectations and show the universe that strength was not just in weapons or armies, but in kindness, creativity, and courage. The stars remained quiet, but soon, messages would travel across light years, whispers of a planet that did not follow the rules, that protected the outcasts and the helpless, would spread, and some in the galaxy would begin to fear it, while others would hope for it. For now, though, the Orcs were safe. They were alive. They were learning, and Earth had taken them in. Lena looked at the humans working alongside her and smiled faintly. Maybe, just maybe, this planet was different. Maybe this was the first place in the galaxy where she could truly belong. And far above, in the orbiting station, Ethan and Natalie exchanged a quiet look. They knew challenges were coming. But for now, they allowed themselves a moment of peace. Humanity had done something remarkable. They had reached out to the lost, the abandoned, and the frightened. They had shown that even in the vastness of space, there was a place where hope could grow. The galaxy had cast them out, but Earth had taken them in. The peaceful days did not last long. Far beyond Earth, in the vastness of space, the Galactic Union was watching. Reports had arrived about a small blue planet that dared to harbor the Orcs, the very species the Union had labeled as traitors. The leaders of the Union were furious. In their eyes, no world had the right to defy them, and Earth had broken the law by refusing to surrender the refugees. In a grand hall filled with holographic screens, Commander Valen spoke with anger. "They must be punished," he said. "They protect the traitors. No planet can defy the Union and live." A younger council member, Corin, frowned. "But this planet is primitive. Their weapons are weak. They may not even understand what they are doing. Perhaps we should warn them instead." Valen's eyes narrowed. "Warnings are useless. If they continue, we must show strength. This planet must obey or face destruction." Meanwhile, on Earth, life continued in an uneasy calm. The Orcs were recovering quickly, showing skills and knowledge that amazed the human scientists. Natalie Pierce worked side by side with Sereth, the Orcs healer, sharing human medicine and learning techniques that were far more advanced than Earth had ever seen. Ethan Brooks continued to study the alien ship. Though it was old and damaged, he discovered ways to improve it using human technology. Small adjustments to the power system, using Earth's magnetic fields, allowed the ship to move more efficiently. Engineers were fascinated. "How is this possible?" one said. "It shouldn't work like this." Ethan only smiled quietly. "Sometimes we just have to try things others say won't work." The children of the Orcs and humans played together, learning each other's languages. Simple games became lessons in trust. Lena taught a group of children to draw shapes of their home world while laughing at the strange toys humans had. For the first time in months, the refugees felt a sense of belonging. But Earth was not blind to the danger that was coming. Reports from satellites and probes indicated that a fleet of Galactic Union ships was moving toward the solar system. They were heavily armed, much more advanced than anything humans had ever built. Alarmed leaders called a meeting at the Global Defense Center. General Mason, the head of Earth's military, frowned at the screen. "They have more firepower than we can imagine. Any direct attack will destroy cities and stations." Ethan leaned forward. "We don't have to fight them the way they expect. Humans have something no other species has: creativity. We can find a way to defend ourselves that they won't predict." Natalie nodded. "And we can work with the Orcs. Their technology, combined with ours, might give us an advantage." Galen and Sereth, standing nearby, exchanged a glance. "We never imagined humans would fight for us," Sereth said quietly. "Perhaps this world is different from the rest." Days passed, and Earth prepared. But the preparation was unlike any other defense. Engineers experimented with materials that were weak but unpredictable, and scientists combined human and Orcs methods to build shields that seemed impossible. The alliance between the two species became a symbol of hope. When the first Galactic Union ships arrived near the edge of the solar system, the humans and Orcs were ready. Scouts reported the fleet, a long line of black ships, each bristling with weapons. The leaders of Earth held their breath. Valen's flagship entered orbit around Earth, broadcasting a single message: "Surrender the Orcs. Refuse, and face total destruction." President Halston of Earth replied calmly, "We will not surrender. The Orcs are under our protection. Any attack will be met with resistance." There was a long pause. Then the Union fleet fired warning blasts across the sky, signaling their willingness to destroy cities if needed. On Earth, Alarms rang, and people took shelter. But the scientists and engineers worked harder, not to hide, but to prepare. Ethan and Natalie stood on the observation deck of a command station, watching the ships. "They think we are weak," Ethan said. "They have no idea how humans fight, when we have to protect what we care about." Natalie placed a hand on his shoulder. "Then we'll show them. We have the Orcs. Together, we can do things they won't expect." The first attack came at dawn. The Galactic ships unleashed energy beams that could destroy cities in minutes. But Earth's defenses, powered by hybrid technology created by humans and Orcs, absorbed much of the impact. The shields bent energy in strange ways, reflecting beams harmlessly into space. The Union fleet paused, confused. Ethan smiled faintly. "They don't understand what they're seeing. Keep moving. Keep adjusting. Make them wonder." On the ground, Sereth and other Orcs joined human teams, directing energy flows, repairing damaged systems, and providing tactical advice. Humans learned quickly, adapting alien techniques to their own understanding. It was chaos, but a controlled chaos, where every action mattered. Meanwhile, in the skies, small fighter ships built by humans and Orcs zipped between larger vessels, attacking points that the Union fleet did not expect. The Union commanders were frustrated. Their advanced tactics and weapons were designed to crush opponents who fought in predictable ways. Earth was unpredictable. Humans improvised, adapted, and refused to give up. In the middle of the battle, Lena and a group of volunteers helped evacuate civilians from targeted areas. She carried a child to safety, smiling despite the explosions in the distance. "Don't be afraid," she told him. "We are safe here." Galen worked beside her, directing people and giving instructions. He had spent years surviving the galaxy's cruelty, but never had he seen a planet that could fight with such determination and heart. "These humans," he muttered. "They are not like the others." Hours passed, and the battle intensified. Union ships tried to land troops, but every attempt was met with coordinated resistance. Humans used unexpected methods. Magnetic pulses that disabled weapons temporarily, drones that created illusions of larger forces, and alien healing techniques that allowed wounded defenders to return quickly to the fight. The leaders of the Union could not understand what they were seeing. "They are too clever," Valon shouted. "How can a primitive planet resist us?" Corin, still skeptical, watched the screens. "It is not just cleverness," he said quietly. "They fight for something we cannot understand. They fight for each other, for trust, and for honor. That is why they survive." On Earth, as the sun began to rise fully, a strange, quiet moment fell over the battlefield. The Union ships paused, unsure how to continue. Human and Orcs teams used the moment to repair defenses, reposition ships, and strengthen their shields. Ethan looked out at the remaining fleet. "We can hold them," he said, "not because we are stronger, but because we are willing to think differently. We fight not just with weapons, but with our minds and our hearts." Natalie nodded. "And because we fight together, humans and Orcs, side by side." For the first time, the Union realized that Earth was not just a planet. It was a symbol of resistance, of a species that refused to bow, that refused to surrender. And the Orcs, once cast out and hunted, were now not only safe but part of something larger, a planet willing to protect them, no matter the cost. As the day ended, the Union ships retreated. They had not been defeated entirely, but they had learned a lesson they would not forget. Earth was not predictable. Earth did not follow rules. And Earth, together with the Orcs, could accomplish the impossible. On the ground, Lena, Galen, Ethan, and Natalie watched the skies. The battle was over, but the war was not finished. Still, there was a sense of triumph. They had survived, protected the innocent, and shown that courage and cooperation could match even the greatest weapons. Children laughed again in the streets, humans and Orcs learning from each other. Engineers repaired damaged systems. Scientists analyzed data from the battle. and everyone began to plan for the future. Humanity had made a stand, and the universe had noticed. Lena smiled at Ethan. "I never thought we would make it," she said. Ethan shook his head. "We didn't just make it. We showed them who we are. They may not understand it yet, but Earth will be remembered." Galen put a hand on her shoulder. "And we are grateful," he said softly. "We owe our lives to these people. They fight not for power, but for what is right." Natalie looked up at the stars. "The Union will return," she said. "But next time, we will be even stronger. We will not wait for them to come again." The survivors of the first attack began to rebuild. The bond between humans and Orcs grew stronger. They shared food, stories, and knowledge. They trained together, preparing for whatever challenges the future might bring. And far above, the retreating fleet of the Galactic Union left behind a message that would echo across light years. A warning that Earth was not like other planets, and that the humans were a force to be reckoned with. Not because of their weapons, but because of their courage, creativity, and their refusal to abandon the helpless. The galaxy had cast the Orcs out. But on Earth, they had found a home, and the planet that had taken them in had shown that even the smallest, most unexpected people could change the course of history. As the night fell, Lena looked at the stars again, thinking about all that had happened. "We survived," she whispered. "We are safe for now." Galen nodded. "Yes, and we will continue to survive, because we are not alone anymore. We have each other." Ethan and Natalie joined them quietly, watching the stars. The battle had tested them, and they had risen to the challenge. They had shown that humanity was capable of something the galaxy had never seen. Courage without fear, kindness without expectation, and strength that came from unity. And so, the story of Earth and the Orcs continued. Together, they had survived the first test, and together, they would face whatever came next. The quiet after the first battle did not last long. Far beyond the solar system, the Galactic Union recovered from their surprise and humiliation. Their commanders were furious. A small, primitive planet had resisted their most powerful fleet, and even worse, it had done so with the help of the Orcs, the species they had declared traitors. Commander Valen clenched his fists in his command chamber. "We underestimated them," he said. "Primitive? They are dangerous. Their strategy is unpredictable. We must strike again, and this time, we will not fail." Corin, the younger council member, shook his head. "They are not just resisting. They are learning, adapting. Every move we make, they change. I fear we may be facing something we cannot control." Valen's eyes burned with anger. "Then we will show them that no planet can defy the Union. Gather the fleet. Prepare the full strike." Back on Earth, Ethan Brooks stood on the observation deck, watching the stars. His heart was calm but steady. "They'll come again," he said softly to Natalie Pierce. Natalie looked over at him. Her brow furrowed. "We survived the first attack. But this time, they will be stronger. We have to be ready for anything." Ethan nodded. "We won't just survive this time. We will show them that humans do not fight like anyone else. We fight with our minds, our hearts, and our unity. That is our strength." The humans and the Orcs worked tirelessly to prepare. Ethan improved the ship systems, combining Earth materials with Orcs technology. Ships became faster, shields stronger, and sensors more precise. It was not just a defense, they were creating something new. Something no other species in the galaxy had ever seen. Sereth, the Orcs healer, trained human medics in alien techniques. Injured soldiers could recover faster, and civilians could be treated even in the middle of battle. Galen, Lena, and other Orcs shared their knowledge of strategy and survival. Together, humans and Orcs built a network that was ready for anything. As the days passed, children learned drills alongside adults. Schools became training grounds, not for war, but for preparation. People of all ages learned to work as one, thinking quickly, improvising, and trusting one another. Then, the fleet appeared. This time, it was larger, stronger, and more organized. Hundreds of black ships moved across the solar system, their weapons glowing, ready to strike. The humans watched in silence, but their determination did not waver. Ethan climbed into the control station, his hands moving over the consoles. They expect fear. They expect us to retreat, but we will do something they cannot predict. Keep the shields ready, the drones active, and the fighters alert. And remember, every mistake they make, we use it against them. Natalie moved beside him, her eyes scanning the incoming ships. We fight for survival, yes, but also for what we believe in. For kindness. For protecting the helpless. That is why we cannot lose. The first wave of attacks came quickly. Energy beams cut through the dark space, aimed at cities, stations, and the docking platforms. But Earth's defenses, powered by hybrid human Orcs systems, bent the energy, redirected it, and even absorbed some to power countermeasures. The Union commanders were stunned. Why does their technology work like this? Vaylon shouted. It is impossible. Ethan smiled quietly. Nothing is impossible when you combine knowledge, creativity, and determination, he said to Natalie. Small fighter ships, piloted by humans and Orcs, darted through space, striking at weak points of the enemy fleet. Drones created illusions of fleets that did not exist. Confusing the Union ships, magnetic pulses disabled their weapons temporarily. Shields shifted unpredictably, making their attacks useless. On the ground, Lena helped evacuate civilians, moving quickly from building to building. Children followed her, trusting her completely. Stay close, she told them. We will protect you. Galen coordinated groups of engineers, medics, and volunteers. Every second counts, he said. Move fast. Think faster. Trust each other. Hours passed, and the battle raged. Union ships were powerful, but their rigid thinking made them predictable in some ways. Humans and Orcs adapted constantly, changing tactics mid-battle, creating solutions no one else could imagine. At one point, a Union ship attempted a direct strike on a major city. The energy beam was enormous, capable of leveling entire districts, but Ethan's team redirected the energy using a combination of magnetic fields and alien technology. The beam harmlessly dissipated into space, leaving the city untouched. Sareth, Lena, and other Orcs medics worked quickly to help injured civilians. People moved calmly and efficiently, guided by trust and courage. Every life saved strengthened the bond between humans and their alien allies. Even the youngest children contributed. Drones and small tools designed for defense could be operated by anyone, and children's quick thinking often solved problems before adults noticed them. The Union fleet could not comprehend this cooperation. Vaylon's frustration grew. They are not just fighting, he shouted. They are creating. They are thinking. This is not a battle, it is chaos. Corin, watching quietly, shook his head. No, Commander. This is strength. Strength the Union cannot understand. Humans do not just follow orders. They invent, adapt, and protect what they love. That is why they survive. As the sun rose over the horizon, a calm moment appeared in the battle. Humans and Orcs had pushed the Union fleet back from critical targets. They used this moment to repair systems, strengthen shields, and reorganize their defenses. Ethan and Natalie looked out at the fleet, now paused. They think they can try again, Natalie said. But we are ready. And next time, we won't just defend. We will show them who we are. The Union fleet prepared a final, massive strike. They concentrated all weapons on the planet, expecting to break the humans and capture the Orcs once and for all. But Earth's defenses, now fully prepared, responded in ways the Union could not predict. Energy fields shifted and moved like water, absorbing and redirecting blasts. Drones and fighter ships attacked key points with lightning speed. Magnetic pulses disabled the enemy weapons, and on the ground, humans and Orcs moved like a single organism, repairing, guiding, and supporting each other. Valen's flagship fired its ultimate weapon, a massive energy beam aimed directly at the capital city. All seemed lost. But Ethan had already prepared. Using a combination of Earth's magnetic field, alien energy conduits, and precise timing, the beam was redirected into space, breaking apart harmlessly. Sareth and Galen coordinated with medics to ensure no lives were lost. Lena guided civilians to safety, her calm presence inspiring confidence. The unity of humans and Orcs was unbreakable. Finally, the Union fleet realized the truth. This was not a planet to conquer. It was a force unlike any other, powered not by weapons alone, but by determination, creativity, and the will to protect the helpless. Valen cursed under his breath. Retreat. We cannot defeat them. As the fleet pulled back, a silence fell over the battlefield. Earth had won, not through sheer firepower, but through ingenuity, courage, and unity. Humans and Orcs celebrated quietly, knowing the war was not over, but the first true victory had been theirs. Children laughed again, running through streets and parks, playing with alien friends. Scientists and engineers shared new ideas, blending human and Orcs knowledge to create technology beyond imagination. Civilians worked together to rebuild what had been damaged. Lena stood with Galen, looking at the stars. We survived, she said. They cannot take this away from us. Galen nodded. No, they cannot. And now, the galaxy knows the truth. Humans are not just strong. We are clever, we are brave, and we fight for what is right. Ethan and Natalie joined them. We showed them who we are, Ethan said quietly. And we will continue to show the universe that Earth does not follow rules. Earth makes its own. Sareth stepped forward, a smile on his pale face. We are grateful, he said. We found a home here, and more than that, we found people willing to stand with us, even when it was dangerous. That is something the galaxy has never seen before. As night fell on Earth, lights from cities and stations glowed warmly. Humans and Orcs worked side by side, preparing for the future but taking a moment to celebrate. They had survived impossible odds. They had protected the helpless. They had rewritten what it meant to fight and to live. And far beyond the solar system, the galaxy whispered in fear and respect. Earth was not like other worlds. Humans did not obey. Humans did not follow rules blindly. Humans protected those who were abandoned, who were cast out, and they did so with courage and creativity no other species could match. The Orcs, once hunted and rejected, had finally found a place to belong, and humanity, in showing its true strength, had proven something important. True power was not in weapons or fleets, but in the willingness to fight for what is right, to protect the helpless, and to work together when the odds were against them. Lena looked at the stars one last time that night. We belong here, she whispered, and we will stay, no matter what comes. I, 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 Galen smiled, placing a hand on her shoulder. Yes, together, we will survive. Together, we will thrive. And together, we will show the galaxy what it means to be strong and kind. Ethan and Natalie watched the night sky in silence, knowing that the future was uncertain. But they also knew this. Earth had taken in the outcasts, protected them, and stood against the most powerful force in the galaxy. That was a victory no one could take away. And so, the galaxy that had cast the Orcs out learned a lesson it would never forget. A lesson in courage, in ingenuity, and in humanity. Earth did not follow rules. Earth rewrote them, and the universe, for the first time, began to take notice.